red apple, green apple, blah, 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 blah.
What on earth is going on over there?
Hamsters circling everywhere. Oh, sorry, I'm doing my voice warm-ups.
Come on, we have a podcast to do.
You know, what I learned from this film is if you don't appropriately vocalize before we start talking, we could lose vocal cords.
Really?
And everyone would be disappointed.
They're going to be gone forever?
Or very happy.
What are we talking about?
Oh, Anchorman.
Oh, that makes sense then.
The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Movies. The average person can be inspired by them. They can make us laugh. Movies can keep us on the edge of our seat and so much more. Maddie's Movie Mix is a podcast for movie enthusiasts of all kinds. We hope you enjoy the show.
Wait. Matt Logan!
Yes, we both have the same problem. You.
Listen. You smell something?
Yippee-ki-yay. This is Tyler Peterson.
The Legend of Creepy 70s Men.
That's another apt title for the film.
Yes. And they actually, did this film based off of, what was his name? I just lost his name. Did you know that there was actually somebody like in Philadelphia or something like that?
Was it Mark Krim?
Maybe. I just totally lost everything.
There was Mark Krim, and then there was another guy that had a mustache. But I looked at it, but then I did more research, and a lot of what I saw was based off of anchor Mark Krim.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's got to be. Yeah. Crazy, crazy, crazy times.
Yeah, it was. Did you know that Will Ferrell had an internship at a local television station?
No way.
And that he went to school for sports information.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but he knew he didn't want to go into broadcasting. So
sure, there's
that. So he has histories with news stations.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. No, I didn't know that. That's a good piece. This is from 2004, so we're not going to go ahead and do spoiler alerts at all and do like a first section, second section.
Although with this film storyline, I don't the story, there's really not much to spoil.
Well, that's true.
News was broadcasted. Or like how the beginning of the film started based on true events. Only names, events, and days or dates have changed.
I know it. So I watched this on an airplane. I mean, I've seen it a couple of different times, but I watched it so that we could do it for the podcast. And I'm like sitting there feeling like a dumb donkey because I'm like belly laughing, right? And
there's so many good one-liners.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I couldn't even believe it. The first half was sometimes really hard to get through some of those scenes. It was just where he had the erection. And he's just
look away, Tyler, look away.
What are you talking about? You have a giant erection.
Don't even pretend that you're not impressed, or however he said it.
Sorry, guys, I gotta walk this off.
I know you could totally. This is
not for young ears.
It's not like. There's parts that are embarrassing, like that some of these things took place. Where would they get some of these ideas if they didn't actually take place?
Exactly.
Some of it was like, really? Oh yeah, really? It did. That was the way it was.
Right.
Like, I'm glad we're not there anymore. I think that we probably don't want to get in the philosophy of some of that, but
right.
It's these types of things are important in the sense that where we were, where we are,
completely different,
totally different, and that's really good.
Yeah, and so we can make fun of it, and
we
laugh.
Better make fun
right.
of it.
Yeah, we don't want it to come back.
Right, exactly. Bella's like, no, bring it back, bring it back. Bella, you don't know what you're talking about. Bella is the dog, by the way. So, yeah,
it had a budget of $26 million.
Well,
Or did you? That's the first one I found was budget of $26 million.
Yeah. So, well, it was a little confusing to me because I wrote down that they had the budget of $26 million, but then I put that they made, they made $28 million in its opening weekend, but it ended up doing $90 million worldwide.
That's what I had was
for in the
90.6.
theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, 90.6.
If you want to we get technical with those point details.
Yeah, that's true, especially on this podcast.
That's right. Let no point go unnoticed.
Exactly. What if you haven't seen the film,
It's an experience.
I guess how would you how would you tell somebody about the film if they haven't seen it?
Well,
I was thinking about that last night.
I honestly think it could almost just be described by Will Ferrell being an Anchorman. And him, because Will Ferrell just does obnoxious characters over the top at least most of the time. I mean, there was a good period where he had like Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. So for me, it was like Will Ferrell just being an Anchorman and being absolutely all the things you don't want Anchormen to be. And, men's stereotypes in the business from the 70s, a male-dominated business. I don't know. It is really hard to explain.
What's interesting to me is what are the statistics of back then, obviously, but the 70s, what are the statistics of men versus women watching the news broadcast? Right? What's the percentage?
Yeah.
Because the way I would think of it is there's probably more women that are watching a news broadcast than men.
That would be my assumption. But it was nighttime news, wasn't it? It wasn't morning news. I really don't know.
Yeah, it was the 6 o'clock or something, wasn't it?
So.
Generally, I think is what they were trying to do. So I'm I don't know, whatever. So maybe the women wanted to watch the men. I but what did you think of the actor lineup? And then we'll talk about actor chemistry and stuff.
It has a lot of characters I like. I love Steve Carell. He's probably one of my favorite comedic actors ever. Will Ferrell to me has you either love him or you hate him. There's not too much middle ground of he's an okay actor. I really like Will Ferrell. Christina Applegate, Paul Rudd, again, one of my favorite actors. And I think all these guys knew each other pretty well.
Yeah, well, Ben Stiller was in it. Black
Ben
was
Stiller,
in it.
Jack Black.
There's a
Vince
lot.
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. Yeah, there's a lot of people
just random cameos at times.
Yeah,
Jack Black, just riding a motorcycle and gets hit by a burrito.
Right.
I was like, all right, fits well for Jack. If there was any scene in that movie that fits Jack Black well, they found it with the motorcycle scene.
Yeah. Did they say we want Jack Black in this, and then they're like, oh, we got it. We're gonna write this in there.
And he's gonna kick a dog off of a.
Yeah, I know, totally. But with these actors, I had a 4.5 on the actor chemistry. I was, how can you go wrong for one? But it felt like they were just having fun, hanging out as friends.
Oh my gosh. It felt like it was just being recorded and we were watching it.
Yeah.
And they're just having a good time.
Vlog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
an unedited vlog.
That's right. I enjoyed Brick's character just being legitimately basically a brick. But yeah, they all had their own personalities, and the thing that was cool is obviously they all had their downfalls, but they understood each other's strengths.
Yes.
Which was super cool because again, they were being obnoxious. In real life, did you ever want to meet them? Probably not, but as a team being a newscaster, it made complete sense.
Right.
It was this jock group of guys getting together, just telling the news.
Yep. They had the quarterback. They had, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I agree. That's absolutely correct. They, you know, obviously, well, I don't know, obviously, but Will Ferrell, you can kind of see his hand in the writing here.
Yeah.
And obviously, with Will Ferrell, he is very good at that over-the-top type stuff. I mean, everything he did, he was 6-7 years on SNL.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that a lot of the scenes, again, we talked about at the beginning, or I guess I don't know if we actually talked. We talked about either right before we started the podcast or at the beginning, where, you know, there were those scenes where he was just rambling to get ready for the newscast. And that was basically all improvised. It was just him being shot and recorded and him just saying things.
Sure.
Because you then see again the post credits where they're doing the basically gag reel.
Yeah.
And so this film had a ton of improvisation in it where they would do scenes 5-6 times where they would just improv and have a good time and see whatever fit best, which worked well in some scenes, but there were definitely times where you felt like some scenes were awkward or just put together.
Yeah, totally. I hate these lights, man. I'm starting to cry. It's such a
heartwarming film.
Such a moving film. I'm so moved.
In a glass case of emotion.
Oh yeah, we could literally like write one-liners down and probably do a 30-minute podcast just off of that.
Oh my gosh, there were so many times where I was like, "This is obnoxious, but I love it."
Yeah, it was good. What did you have for a score? Did you tell me?
I think I did. I gave it. No, I didn't.
Remember.
I gave it 4.4.
Okay. No, you didn't.
I don't think I did either. That was Jackie's thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think these mics just would pick that up. But she's like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, good actor chemistry. They all seemed like they were having a good time. There was, even when they brought in Veronica Corningstone's character, you could see how that put a cog into the operation where they were all like flustering and it seemed real.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, absolutely. Class act crew for sure.
That's right. The filming locations.
3.5. Nothing impressed me at all with filming locations.
Well, most of it wasn't shot in San Diego.
Right.
Which, as much fun, like, this film was a homage to that town.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Good morning, San Diego.
Right.
Stay classy.
Yeah.
But I gave it 3.5 too. When it comes to time era things of like paying attention to cars and if it fit to the times or buildings or things going on, I typically don't catch up on that well, and I've never been to San Diego.
Right.
But I did read that there was quite a bit of inaccuracies of stuff from like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s that were placed in the film. Again, I think this film really didn't care or give a crap about.
No, they didn't. There was a ton of inaccuracies. Absolutely.
So I gave it 3.5 as well. There were fun scenes. I don't know how you get lost. There are people who clearly have suit guys. They have well-maintained suits, and so the scene where like, you know what that means? We gotta get new suits.
Right.
And then they get lost.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Frick must have been leading the way.
Totally. And Steve Carell does a great job with that character. I mean, and that reminds me of Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
You know, his character there too was kind of that. You know, obviously, he was an anchor and stuff.
Yeah. He was at least well maintained as an anchor for the most part.
But he was still kind of like a little ditzy, I guess. That's how I remember it.
I like carpets.
Yeah.
Rick, are you just naming things that you're seeing right now?
I love lamp. Rick, do you actually love the lamp, or are you just? I love lamp.
Yeah, his character gets more awkward in the second one.
Yeah, I'll have to watch.
He
that.
finds Kristen Wiig.
No idea what you're talking about. Good stuff.
But yeah, I think they could have done better, but I think this film didn't care about accuracies at all. They were just, we'll shoot this shot here.
We'll
let's
get
shoot
close.
That shot there.
Yeah.
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 Let's do you want to talk? Let's go to the costume design.
Let's do it.
I really like the suits.
I did too.
It was not
That's
a red,
my red dress.
Yeah, and it was a red velvet suit.
Yeah, totally.
I thought it was super funny. Of like, if I were to picture the 70s, those suits matched of like the vibrant, like you got the maroon, you got the bright blues, you got the ties.
The only thing I don't remember seeing though was plaid. Was there a plaid suit coat?
I think Paul Rudd's character.
Yeah,
might have
right. Had one at one time. Okay.
Ryan Dantana.
Because that definitely is. I remember that. It
Sticks out like a sore thumb.
like
those
70s.
plaid.
Yeah, that plaid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. Even I thought Will Ferrell's character when he was like he got laid off, and he was just like he still had his suit and he still had his tie, and then when he tried to dress up, there were so many characters that just made cameos because who was it that allowed him to do he owned the club.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Why can't
Yeah, I don't know.
he's
either.
a straight-faced guy.
Yeah.
Fred Armisen.
Yes.
That's
yes,
who it is.
Yes.
And they had the other one that so in the bar I cannot remember these names. I don't know why I can't remember them. But he's a super famous tough guy. You remember he's the one that picks up the phone?
Yeah.
I forget his actor. But there was just so many of like how did they get this actor just to randomly show up for these? I mean, maybe it was because it was just like 2 or 3 shots, and then you can have your name credited, and you can be in this weird, goofy film.
Right. I don't know. What's the incentive? I was thinking that throughout a lot of the film. What's the incentive here for these people? Is Will Ferrell, they just good friends?
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it is a bunch of SNL cast.
It is. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's probably a good chunk that goes. I mean, that probably helped a ton of it with some of at least the cameo appearances.
Right.
Were a lot of SNL. But now thinking about it, like you just scene by scene, there's just random people that show up like, you're pretty famous. Why are you doing this right now?
Yeah. Were you bored today and you showed up on set?
That's right.
4.1 costume design for me.
I gave it a 4.3. The other thing that I thought was really funny was Baxter and Ron Burgundy had matching PJs and retainers.
Yeah.
I thought that was quirky and goofy and probably not at all realistic, but
dogs, come on. I mean, your wife trains. They've got to have stuff like that.
None of the dogs I've seen have had a retainer yet. And
it was the whole headpiece and everything,
That dog had to be incredibly well trained because of all the dog interactions. For them to have something around their head like that and their mouth, and for it to be fine, highly inaccurate. I cannot believe they put that in this film.
Yeah, highly inaccurate.
Should we go to the cinematography?
No, let's go to overall entertainment value.
I was highly entertained. More than I probably should have. I gave it this is probably where it shined because everything did not make sense together. But if you take scene by scene, just take it for what it is. I gave it a 4.4.
Sure. I'm a 4.3, and I agree because if you try to make sense of it, like as a whole storyline, start to finish, I mean, there's that, the love interest, and there is that in there.
Yeah.
But if you take that, 5 minutes at a crack,
that's right.
Oh my gosh, it's entertaining.
I mean, we were texting earlier today.
Yeah.
And how many different GIFs or GIFs or whatever the heck.
Yeah,
I think GIFs is right. And if you disagree,
you're wrong.
Fight me. But there's just so many from this film. I just searched Anchorman. I just scrolled, and that's what this film is all about. And I think you look at the director, Adam McKay, a lot of his films, and I mean, Will Ferrell in general, this is what you get out of his films, is you have the other guys. What Adam McKay directed that as well. Lots of good one-liners. Take it as a whole, makes no sense. But again, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Aim for the bushes. They just jump off. Like,
right.
Makes no sense. Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, all these films, they're not loved for the story at all.
No, for sure.
They're all about this entertainment value that we can just, and not care about anything and just enjoy it. It's one that's great to have on the background.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's perfect for that. I mean, yes, you can just listen to it and chuckle every now and then. And good belly roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when he blows the conch to assemble the team and Baxter comes out of the river. They did a segment where I said 3 months later. And like, are they really expecting us to believe Baxter's just been swimming in the river?
Exactly, I know. Right.
I know the doggy paddle was named after dogs, but I'm sure there's the time limit that they have of like how long they can go with that little paddle.
That's true. There was a study done with rats. And it's some kind of like hope study. I don't remember what they called it.
Yeah.
Have you heard it?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So they actually did a study where they put rats in water, and the rats would give up at about 15 minutes, and they'd start to drown.
Right.
But if right before they got to that point,
you got the incentive.
They took them out, gave them a quick breather. They were rescued, and they put them back in. They would like swim for like 60 hours. Yeah. It was like that hope. They had hope of survival in that one moment.
Yeah.
And that's all that was needed. That's got to be Baxter.
I'm so happy I'm not a rat. That has to be Baxter.
He had that hope.
He apparently had some side adventures too, because he met the bear's cousin.
Right?
I met your cousin in wherever.
Speak bear.
Or all
Kodiak
animals speak the same.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That was good stuff.
What were we? Oh, overall entertainment.
Cinematography.
Now we can do that.
No, let's do the score. No, I'm kidding.
Score the cinematography?
Did I say 4.3 entertainment value yet?
I think we're a little loopy. I don't even think I gave my overall.
I think we're just having so much fun that this is a fun movie to talk about.
The quote I had on here when they were talking about the perfumes, 60% of the time it works every time.
Right. And how they did it and pulled it out and how dramatic they did that was the best.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was good. Cinematography. You know, they didn't there was these things that the detail didn't make sense for the time period and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, that's for sure. I caught a lot of that kind of stuff. But I think they did a great job of capturing everything on the film.
Yeah.
Like, the lighting was good. When they were at locations, they didn't have any super out of place anything. Like
even the news, like when they were doing the newscastings, it felt very authentic.
Yes. So 4.2.
Yeah.
Is what I give it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed how they imitated the new shows based off the 70s, with the suits and everything. Thought it was funny they were playing. There was just so many things where if you were just pay attention to some of the small details, there was playing football in the background. Like, how much these things actually happen? Like, granted, I wasn't even thought of in the 70s.
Right. That stuff happened.
Oh, yeah. So I just enjoyed that.
They were always trying to crack each other up.
Yeah. And so I just loved it. The cinematography, the fight scene where they did all the cuts to, the Ben Stillers from the Spanish broadcasting. And this film knew it wasn't being taken seriously. So I think all around they just had a good time with the shots, the film. So yeah, I gave it a 4.0. Nothing spectacular. Again, nothing to be. They didn't care about the small details, but they had fun with what they had.
Yeah, but the small details, no. The big picture, they wanted it to still be quality.
Yeah.
You know, they still spent $26 million.
Yeah.
For a budget. You know, that's significant.
Probably for all the cameos.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yes. A few $100,000 here and there.
That's right. What's an extra 100,000?
The music, the score.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in college, I was a part of a ministry called Chi Alpha, and I did weekly news segments. And so I watched the news with my grandparents, but I didn't watch the news much as a kid or anything like that. Now I watch clippets, so I don't even watch the beginning or anything like that. But from the sound bites that I got and stuff like that, it sounded like a news. This movie had those like long notes, exciting of like, this is the news with Ron Burgundy and like the narrator and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. And anytime the narrator came, you had the fun music going alongside it. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It really engaged me in what the film was about. I can't remember much else out of it. Didn't pay too much attention. So I gave it a 3.7. It was, again, nothing spectacular.
I was thinking the way you were just hyping it up, I was thinking you're going to be like a 4.7.
No.
I'm like, whoa, what?
5.0.
Right? Wow. No, okay.
Well, those scenes didn't happen a ton. And so I just, that was a saving grace for me with this film, was they had those sections that were really fun to listen to where it sounded like a news broadcast.
No, I would agree with that. I actually were tied 3.7.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anything in it. The fight scene was pretty fun with the way they did the music, and they had, the Spanish newscast come in. So there was some of that fun stuff in there, but as a whole overall congruent film, I didn't think it was all that good as far as for a high score.
Yeah.
So 3.7.
Oh gosh, Brick, did you kill somebody? Where'd you get that trident?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and even the introductions for each character. So I mean, they had the broadcast, but then they had the party scene.
Yeah,
where they really introduced each individual part of the broadcast. I thought was so funny.
That was funny. That was really good.
And it fits. I mean, it really set up each character. So they did that early, and then the character fit from the initial introduction where, what was it? Brick was toasting butter.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian Fantana, he was with the ladies. And then Champ's character was a little weird. Whammy.
Yeah.
Whammy.
You maybe heard my catchphrase. Whammy.
And his facial expressions when he did it too, it was like whammy. Like the whole side mouth thing going on.
Yeah, I know it. It was very well done. What I know the editing doesn't get a lot of credit, but I thought that they did a really fun job on when they cut to a different scene and stuff like that. I that was fun too for me. But so my overall rating was a 4.0.
Yeah,
is where I landed on that one.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.9.
But you can't go wrong with this film
unless you get offended easily. I think you could potentially get really if this film is not PC at all.
Okay. Comedy never should be PC.
No.
If comedy is PC, then we are in trouble.
Yeah.
Like as a society.
Yeah. Especially since this,
because nothing would ever be funny.
No.
Like it would be dry, boring.
Yeah. I have a huge philosophy. If you can't make fun of yourself, you're not enjoying life properly, because I like making fun of myself, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And so I think if you know what your flaws are, it's fun to poke at it. And so I think that's something that this film did well, is, I mean, they knew the times of things that, this really should not have been happening, but it was. So let's make fun of it to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Right. It's a good way of just pointing out what it wasn't all bad.
No, it wasn't.
That time period.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so it's like, let's make fun and like really rip on the stuff that was really bad.
Yeah.
But then, Christina Applegate's character,
you see growth.
Yes.
You see opportunity.
Right.
For...
And you see like, oh man, there needs to be more people like her, just people in general. Like, I don't care if you're kicking me in the teeth or not. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
this is what I was meant to do.
Yes,
These are my
F
dreams.
Out of my way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you slow me down.
I'm going to aspire to what I was meant to do.
Yes. So I thought that was great.
Yeah. And I mean, each character, or at least I can't say each character had growth. I mean, Brick was snuggling with a bear at the end. But I mean, you see Will's character have growth at the end too, of, originally this was all about me. I'm the greatest anchor in the world. And
he was. He was a big deal.
Yeah. Well, as long as you don't mess with his teleprompter. This is Ron Burgundy. F you, San Diego.
Go F.
Great broadcast, guys. What'd you guys think?
Right.
Ron, did you hear what you just said? No.
Right. They play it back, and he's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow.
Man,
good stuff.
I got distracted easily. But yeah, there is room for growth, and to show how far we've grown together, and that we should treat people with equality, even though sometimes we're selfish with our own desires.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. It can be used as a reflective piece, and I think it should be, and you should never try to erase history.
No.
That's why you end up repeating it generally.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are people, I did read some stuff, and there were people, I thought I had it saved here, but I don't, but there were people like totally ripping this thing apart, and they were like, this should have never been made, and how did they, all that kind of stuff. Like all these actors should never work again.
Right.
For being in the film, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what?
Right.
How? I mean, they're literally, it's satire for one.
Right.
So there's that.
Right.
And they're ripping on the negative things of what happened back then.
Yeah.
Which is a good way to bring it into reality.
Yeah.
And so,
even if you look at those like negative comments, those negative comments are bringing conversations to light that wouldn't have been, potentially might not be had if the movie didn't exist.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but the thing, I guess it seems like, is they're not a lot of, so cancel culture is what really they're trying to do,
right?
And canceling anything does not ever produce growth.
No.
And so they're not able to have, these comments, and you'd see different things back and forth, and some of these blogs and whatever, and or forums, or whatever the proper term is. I'm going to be canceled now. I said it wrong. But
start a Reddit forum.
And
Matt
so
Logan sucks. Just kidding.
Exactly. We know. I know. But it's one of those things like they're like, no, it's my way.
Right.
And that doesn't create conversation, and that's hard. That's what's hard for me.
Right. And I agree. I think
it's my way or no way
balance.
And that's exactly what they're making fun of.
Right.
In the movie.
Yeah.
You're a hypocrite. When you're trying to cancel
narrow mindsets.
When you're trying to cancel somebody, you're doing exactly what they're doing and making fun of in the film and saying you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know, because
could you imagine if like Will Ferrell's character, like she's a woman, she can't be a broadcaster, and you know, push that on, and she got fired. Like
that's exactly what they were trying to do,
right? But it didn't happen
because she pushed through with it, right? And that's kind of what I mean, I guess, is like people need to push through that kind of stuff, and as long as you're doing things properly in the right way, you're not hurting another human being, like actually hurting them. Might hurt their feelings. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful to. If you post any opinion, you have to be willing to at least have conversations about it.
Yeah.
Rather than, this is what I posted. I don't care what you think or what you reply. This is how I feel, and I'm not going to change. I think it's the ideal world is you would post those things, someone would have a decent reply back of like, I understand what you're saying, but here's what I see, and then able to have conversations rather than posting something, someone saying you're an idiot, and then just going out that side tangent.
It's like, yeah, I know I'm an idiot. I mean, what's your point?
Well played, good sir.
But I'll put on certain posts though too. I'm like, I won't have a thumb war with you,
right?
But direct message me and we'll set up a conversation, like a real one.
Yeah, always love.
I mean, I'll literally write that in there. Like I'll say, you know, hey, this is my perspective. I'm not gonna thumb war with you,
right?
But direct message me and we'll set up a time to chat.
Yeah,
like either face to face or over the phone.
Yeah,
over the phone generally, but.
I just think that's a healthy way to approach things.
Yeah, because Anyway, we got
that's
way
a side
off.
Tangent,
but it's legitimate, and that's what they're kind of in this film, like saying, like, hey, you know, Chris, I thought it was great. Christina Applegate's character just pushed through it.
Yeah,
and it was like, I'm not going to take this BS.
And you even look at like Harkin's character, the producer of the show, and saying, I understand what you're saying, but we have to give her a shot because this is what we're moving towards for good reason. And he had a backbone and stuck saying, you know what, Ron, I see what you're saying, but we're going to try it out and see how it goes, and we can go from there.
And yep, exactly.
So, yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I think that that's what's important is to see those growth things that you talked about too.
So I think with this film, it's not a historical documentary of like these are I mean, they started off with these are based on true events, only names change, dates and events have changed, so it's not a true story, but it's bringing to light of similar things that have happened. And they were making fun of it. So have conversations.
Yeah.
Rather than people who I think, if you have a critique on it, taking everything so seriously. Of like, you shouldn't be making fun of this. Like, what's that? I mean, it's a comedy. That's the point of the film, is bringing those things up.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to bring this up now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
So it's done.
It's done.